Welcome, freaking Sunday. Jesus. Last time I was so excited about the weekend pump that it's been a while. But no matter what, guys, remember one thing before I'm going to start it up. One pump doesn't delete anything else. We still need to do some more things than only pump into the resistance or into the support. Remember that because there have been quite a lot of FUD around it and a little bit more, way too much FOMOing just because we pumped. Okay. So moving on, and we're gonna start as always with the VIX. We're still in the uptrend, like that's quite obvious, but there is a small but on it. It all depends how we're gonna end up on the next week open. Why? Because we are still quite high for VIX. That means we are above the 20 area. We still didn't break out from the 21.7 previous high. So that could potentially be a change that we could see in the VIX if we start to dial in and going back into the lows. That's one. But if we start to regain that of course the volatility spikes in and we're going to go higher up and whatsoever. And you know what that's going to go. But that's this area what we are right now in. We are technically breaking the structure to the downside. Also in changing the character in, right? If that's going to be the continuation. Still, going back into the support doesn't mean that we're breaking it, but we're still coming back at it. Now, two things that, technically one thing that I want to see. I want to see VIX going slowly into it, something like that. That could potentially be a nice refill, a small bounce into the market. Not really specific for Bitcoin, but much more for the alts. But if you're gonna do it in one big way, like we constantly been doing it, then potentially we're gonna do that again and again and again and again. I don't like those kind of bigger moves. I want it like steady and slow grind into it, and I know that we are slowly falling into it, and we are starting to change in it. But that's end side. So far, this is still uptrending, right? The thing that we should be thinking about it or looking out for it is this area, this pocket of below 16. We need to close below that. Right? Not really care about the 17.5. That doesn't say much to me yet, just because we didn't regain the high, breaking the low. Still, we are in uptrend just because of this whole crap that we've been dealing here. Okay, just to be clear about that. Moving on Dixie, not much happening. Still steady, still sideways. We did on the side retest of 97. Did even come back wholly to the low. So let's see how we're gonna be dealing with that. If that's gonna continue lower, then yes, that's fine with me. I would like to settle down around the 94. That's a quite deep and steep dive in, but we are still breaking things to the downside instead to the upside. Right? So that's quite clear. Not much to say about that. Now it comes the juicy part. The total tree. And I'm gonna start with the good ones. That means the total tree. Expect without the Bitcoin and ETH, right? That's quite clear. We did settle technically a high. That means we broke the daily previous high that we settled over here. It's not still something significant. I would like to be much more happy if we're gonna be above the 769. I don't think we're gonna get there quite soon. This is still good, and it is quite big for it right now because we have a small relief bounce on that one. We still technically breaking the level on my nice straight lines. We potentially could still grind it like that, right? No matter what, we're gonna get into the resistance. That's clear, but still potentially that move gonna bring us a little bit more higher into the like 750. That's quite a lot of money still, right? So don't think lightly about that. So I like that. I like that we broke that high. I really like that. Now we need to hold it. We need to hold it above the 700. If we're gonna hold that, we could grind it higher up, and that could be really good. And even we're gonna grind into the resistance. That's still right from the next low that we might settle. That's still around 10% of the whole market movement. That's quite a lot, right? Just because in comparison, if you're gonna go overall in total, we just did it's barely there, right? So the whole sneaky close above it. Like, okay, I agree on that one. But then the total two at a little bit more higher up. So yeah, I like that. I really like that. So that's already first sign of kind of ish bit more bullish news on the alts. Not something that I'm seeing Bitcoin doing or even any kind of high caps right now, but just more on the alts, right? I'm gonna go a little bit more into that one. Gold still sideways, technically setting higher highs, so that's still fine, but it's still going a little bit more sideways. I don't like those sweeps on it. That most of the times we get them, we're gonna have like a long run to the upside, so potentially quite good for the market overall. Sorry, silver still going lower. Either way, we are still at the support, quite high. We broke that support, we broke the low on that one, still didn't regain the previous high. So this is still continuing grinding lower and kind of already lost this whole like peak of movement. This is a little bit more behaving as a, yeah, I want to say something about the bad, but you know what I mean. Gap, CME didn't go a little bit into that one, so I don't think we're gonna get one. Depends on the movement, but either way, I don't think we're gonna get highly a movement on that one. Awesome, we didn't get that much, so like nothing interesting instead of that gap what we have above around the 80s. Now the dominance is quite interesting as well. Overall, we didn't set any highs yet, but the only thing what we are managing to do, and we're still doing it for now, let's say before we're gonna open a new week, we're still into the support and we are holding it. So yeah, we broke the structure, but we are technically we're still holding on the support, right? So it's technically uptrending from the lows. Till and only till we're gonna break that, right? So that's the things what you want to look out for it is to get above that. You don't want to be above the 58 because that's going to be quite dramatic. If we start to turn around that, then we still have continuation to the downside. So yeah, that's a bit on the whole market. Overall, pity on a daily wise. We do see some fading out of the shorts. Right, they've been quite pressed to the downside already, and we see some cooling off process of that one, similar to the longs, but that's still holding up a little bit more. We did confirm that we have cash flow reversal, right? So that's the first one after the whole dump. We still could potentially grind it out because that's last time we had that one, the first one after breakdown, we had the loss of the low, and we've been a little bit more into the sideways, right? This whole sideways move was after we settled in that whole reversal sign, and then we had one pop. That's this whole situation, and then we lost it. So could we do it again? Like, yeah, we could. Like, we could grind it out. We could have that one pop into the high, and then do that because still this is the biggest resistance. So something like that, I will really consider for it. So yeah, and on chain time to move a little bit, oscillator not much, and we are still quite split on the coupler flow index. So that's quite interesting, and it's been already almost 2 months. So that could be a potential as well indicator for flip. And like you see as well on the daily, alt still holding up on 55%, quite high. So that's really interesting for me because that's been a while ago we had that kind of hold, right? That was on this dump, but that wasn't that big or not that significant for the alts. But right now, let's see how we're going to be dealing with the rest of it. Quite interesting. And the capital flow index situation overall on the market. How does it look like? Daily, I need it on weekly. So still technically not much change on gold. VIX, we had a spike higher, as I've been mentioning last Wednesday, right? USDT start to fall a little bit more lower, so could be potentially flow in. Expecting on the money side, then silver kept a little bit lower, and then Nasdaq and SPX increased to the downside technically, right? So it failed a little bit more. 60 stable and market still low overall. So yeah, not much change, not much flipping, only VIX had to go higher up. So I would like to see it a little bit more at the 60 and then do a bigger move or like a kind of dump on it, right? So let's see. But most interesting for me is the Dixie. If Dixie start to get into the 60, then we might potentially see some inflow of cash. But yeah, that's the market overall. And oh no, I missed one thing just to mention. I've always forgot about that one. Not really something that I remember. Long and short is still at 61. We used to be a little bit more into the 70. We dropped down and we are still stable-ish, grinding it around the 61. How does it look on the daily? 62-ish. So we're still quite high. Yeah. For it to technically touch or kiss again, we need to do a bigger move into the upside. Not something that I'm seeing it right now. Next to that one, if I'm gonna go on Bitty, there is some orders placed that I've been quite interesting into it. If that's gonna be the level in developing a little bit more deeper and higher up next week. If this block, like I mentioned, we move this into the support technically of this structure, I'm kind of aiming that it could hold us. So for Bitcoin, we could settle a new low, and that's still fine on structure only. Where is this going to? What I mean is this break this low because we didn't regain this high. We didn't regain this high, right? That was a failure, quite obviously. And now this low is quite important. We could break that. That's still gonna be fine. We break that low because then what you aim for, we're gonna hold on this. That said, that whole block over here could potentially be our support. Bounce us a little bit more higher up. On another side, there are not much orders over here. Like most of the times you see some orders spread over here or a little bit more higher or like weird places just for like sake of it. So far, not much. Okay, how do I delete that now? Otaka, you are awesome, but your trading view is it. Okay, now moving on Bitcoin to deep dive a little bit more into that one. Like I said, pumps doesn't mean nothing till they're not gonna break. And so yes, we had a nice pump up. That's awesome if you caught that or whatever. This is still middle of your range. Like this is the range high, low. This is your mid. So that's how you technically should trade your range as well. What did we do? For hour, we didn't come even close to the high of it, not to even break that. Daily wise, same thing, right? We didn't even reach the previous daily high. We quite a significant reject from that one. Like I said, pumps are awesome till they're gonna do something. That means you need to regain your previous high, or you're gonna just grind into the resistance till you break it. So far, now the only point of interest is the 68.8-ish level. That means to be exact 68.8. You need to break that to get back at the range high. So potentially for Bitcoin, what could be is something like this, right into that, right? And then do the bigger move. That's all fine. Situation, we kind of remember that, right? We kind of remember this whole pattern, right over here. We've been dealing for like 69 weeks, days. So we could do that. But if you start to break into the range mid situation, we can do the bigger stuff. So losing the high is nothing wrong to me. By holding the, losing the high is nothing wrong by holding it low, right? I would be much more rather to do that than grinding into that resistance, something like that. Why? Just because there is much more liquidity below, and that could bounce us a little bit more higher into the stuff of 79-ish. I'm more in that opinion. I could be wrong on that one. I don't mind. I'm still positioned in that section. So yeah, short from here was quite obvious. Right now, we need to get back at 66.7-ish. We're going to hold that. Fine, right? That's fine as well. The potentially we're going to do some bigger stuff. So far, this is the range that we play. This is the area range that we are still in it. What could hold us as well? There is one order block over here. Not big, but there is something. Right, so there's one order block that is a little bit more below one. We start to see some squeeze into that one. So let's see potentially how we're going to be dealing with that. But no matter what, we are below the previous weekly and already we close below the daily. We could retest that. So for the last missed shorts, potentially something like this could even work. And I think that's going to be a freaking stupid fib as well, if you look at it. Lower time frame. But yeah, that's still the area of interest. And then you have the liquidations as well. We took the highest one. There is some leftover. We still have the pocket above us. So either we're going to reach out of the high of this swing. We could swing play from this area just because there is not much of liquidity to grab. And we could stack a little bit more deeper. Like I said, we could get it a little bit more inside the pocket, right? And then do something like that. Still possible to grab the leftovers of the liquidations. So yeah, that should be fine. And as well on the bands side. We grabbed the highest one, obviously, right? And right now we are aiming to get back at 20-ish and 20 and 25-ish areas. So over here. So yeah, that area over here, that could be really potential for any kind of small longs. And obviously this is the less risky one. But that's one thing. Now to move on a little bit more on higher time frame. Monthly one, I think that's obvious, right? We're still in the downtrending. Next to it, weekly wise, potentially still downtrending, right? We still didn't deal with the weekly right now. We did have a quite nice buyback, if you look at it, but we still didn't reach out of 70-ish area. So are we gonna do that in the next 6 hours? Possible, but I'm not really sure that's gonna be happening today. But I would like to be surprised about that. Still failing from the February. Now, daily wise, same thing. Right now, what are we doing? Quite perfectly, retest of the weekly, right? Underside retest, and we are failing from quite significant. So that weekly, that's technically lined in the sand for regaining the high and doing some damage into the upside. So to reach 77, you really need to flip that weekly. That's going to be as well the previous weekly right now. We're going to open one here. So it's going to be one below or something like that. And that's could push us a little bit more lower to do another swing to that area. So potentially still downtrending, right? Till we settle down on a new low. Because after that buyback, what we had over here on the daily, we just didn't reach the low on it. So that low didn't been even retested. Technically speaking, this is the daily low, right? And that's exact the same level as the 4-hour low. So already you have overlapping swing swing points from 4-hour and daily. That's quite heavy. So if you're gonna reach that area, that's why I'm aiming to hold on. That's why it's my point of interest. And as well, you have that block of orders, like literally below that. So for me, that's a quite nice support what we are starting to build. Okay. So yeah, I think that's all on on Bitty. And looking at the oscillators as well, we really had two even reversal signs on the Wave Master. We have trend change right now, so we are changing the trend on it quite obviously, right? If that's going to be the continuation, the next step is going to be the capital flow, not capital flow index. No, what's the name? Cash flow. Sorry, cash flow reversal. If that's cross sign is going to come in, we might see exact the same thing, what we always see, and that's going to be a little bit more deep dive. There's a fair value gap below, so like dipping lower, that's not going to be an issue if we start to break that hip over here, that small hip. So yeah, perfect so far. Yeah, I think that's all on the Bitty sides. So, will we move on the alt? All right. So now it comes the juicy part. What I'm thinking, we might see some potential moves on some alts. That means hype. I'm gonna do it on daily. I think that's gonna be a little bit more nice to for the overview. Hype is still holding 28. This is still quite nice. We didn't reach our previous high from the daily. 4 hours still. Yeah, still at the resistance. We are dipping a little bit lower. So technically, the only thing that I will be like looking out for it is holding on 29-ish. Then still could grind up sideways. But overall said, like, this is a rare to see as well with this kind of buyback on the VIX over here. With one slightly shitty close on the daily, and you're still holding on it. Like normally alt will already like freaking be getting into the lows and dumping like as hard as possible. But somehow they still managing to hold that. And that's really good. And that says as well something about the strength of the coin and as well about the, not the fundamentals, but the whole idea behind it, right? That's why I'm quite heavy on that one and still holding on. On top of that, let me just switch this up a little bit and quicker. I hope it's gonna, wrong one. What did I do? Deleted one. Okay. So on top of that, type here. What you can see is still increase of capital flow, right? Still that capital flow on a weekly, I don't care which time frame, sorry, high time frame. Still that capital flow not gonna reach the neutral line or getting below. I'm still favoring to the upside. As clear as it is, right? The first TP been hit quite perfectly even, like to the T. The second one's going to be higher up. And if that start to increase, perfect. Price can go lower. This can go higher. That means we should see a divergent play out of it. And that's the case when, if you see price go lower, but the inflow is starting to get higher up, that's your sign. That's your sign. The next move, it's going to be the move. Right? Same thing over here. Like this was higher high after higher high after higher high, but the cash flow was decreasing. Done. The next move, it's a major one. Right? That's what you want. But yeah, anyhow, moving on. Hype. So still potentially going higher. If you don't reach the 82 and we start to settle a new low on that one, then yeah, definitely we're going to break up stuff and start to get back at the 22. Not aiming anymore to get below 20. I don't think that's going to happening for hype this cycle or before we're going to reach the bear market. That's not going to be happening because bear market will be, or technically I'm aiming it's going to be below 20, but that's for a different day. Same thing, per. Like, I'm not going to go through all of that stuff because that's a little bit too much, but so far we've been coming from the upside to the downside. We settled the low, we've been grinding it, and then we had that explosive move coming back. And what were we doing? Exact the same as hype. We are holding this as a support, and this is still our area that we are setting higher. No matter what we are doing over here, because that's a low cap that can go like fucking up and down in like a couple of seconds. But I mean, like percentage-wise, quite heavily. But still, holding on 0.06, I'm fine with it. If we're gonna reach a new high, that means not on the wick but on the body. No matter what the wick's gonna do, still uptrending, right? So yeah. But this is a low cap, like this is a meme coin kind of thing situation. So you should treat that as well like that. Now, getting at the juicy stuff. Injective. So I'm gonna stick with the daily right now. Like you see, we didn't break out on the daily, right? That's obvious. But to be fair, we did settle a high on 4 hour. Yes, this is still a resistance area, like we always talk about it, right? This is still a resistance. We failed from that one perfectly. That's fine. All Gucci. I'm in the short on that one. But the thing is, we did close above it. For me, and that's in my book, a structure, right? That's a change in the structure. Why? Because we did settle higher high on the body wise, not on the wick. I know it's not fully higher high, but still potentially it could be. most of the times we've been freaking dealing with those kind of stuff, like we didn't do it fully, and then, right? But yeah, it was, for example, over here, a move of another 10% or something like that. Anyhow, but I'm aiming for right now, and that's going to be technically the same for AVAX. So we do have quite proper support, but technically we've been breaking below that. But you see what I mean? We broke that below, right? And then we went higher up. But even we settled a low, yes, not on the wick, but on the body wise, that's still in my book a perfect structure. So we could grind it lower up, right? Even take that liquidity below us, because there was quite a lot as well. Lower liquidity. Like that. Okay, not that stacked, but I thought it was a little bit more. But anyhow, still, for me, what's the most important right now? After that, we broke that low, right? What happened? You regained that structure. We said a little air, higher low, right? So we technically have a structure to the upside, and we've been blasting through it. Now, what do? To the higher high, technically on the body only, not on the wick. So right now, the only thing what I want to see on those alts is to hold up on this, right? Coming back at the lows, holding up, grinding the structure, we could blast it higher up. That's what I mean. We are starting to change a little bit more in structure-wise, because right now we are still overall high time frame downtrending, right? Don't get me wrong. This is just 4 hour. We're starting to form some structure to the upside, right? And of course, those are the alts. They can freaking nuke from it and don't care about anything, like we, for example, did over here, right? All of that shenanigans, that all can be possible. But we are traders. We take what we see, and this is what I'm seeing on it. And this is why I'm gonna stack my orders over here, and I will ladder into the position like somewhere like that, or a little bit more higher up, but front run it and see how that's gonna be dealing with. So I'm not sure if Stu's gonna agree with me, yes or no, but this is as well the super VIP in my opinion, just because we broke that structure on the body. Yes, I know it's not on the wick, so it should be over here somewhere, but we didn't do that. Body wise, for me, are on the first place than the wicks. So, sorry, wicks, not wicks. But yeah, this is the area that I'm gonna look out for it. Exact the same thing on AVAX, but AVAX had a little bit more higher up run up, and this is the proper one. Here, I think our lovely Stuber will agree with me, but this is the area for AVAX right now for a freaking long position. Why? Because not only that, AVAX did settle a high on the daily as well, and that's a proper one, right? Awesome. Just because we have the low on the structure wise over here, we did properly retest the whole swing from that low. So that was really a proper one. We had a really awesome move on it, right? That move was freaking 15%. Perfect. And I think, though, yeah, so those two bits have been stopped out, obviously. But then right now, second focus is this. Why? Because right now, we're going to deal with the, how do you do that? What do we have right now is, this is the, technically the low, right? It's not the daily, but low. And now you have the high over here. So, right? This you high, this you low. That's the whole structure. That's the whole swing that's holding you. Sorry, should be this one, but okay, can deal with that one. But you break out of that one, the previous swing, and right now you're dealing with this one. And what did you settle? And then you have the swing high over here, and you've been retesting quite perfectly, and you blast it through. So this is it, right? This is your swing from the lows, and like that, this is the area that I'm gonna aim to ladder into it quite nicely. Well, with the spot backs and leverage. That's what I'm gonna take as well with the leverage one. So yeah, and I'm gonna, because I think it'd be as well quite fair. I'm gonna put money where's my month, and those are the shows that I took. So there it is. If you want the average price on it as well, like be my guest. And check it out. Those are the shots that I took from the highs quite nicely. Those are the swing failures over here. Start as a scalp one, and I add quite heavily into it into the force failure. So injective, same thing, right? That was quite obvious over here, and especially with the whole stupid flip, I guess, as well. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for AVAX. That could potentially be a quite big one because the next move from the low, if we're gonna settle down, we are getting into the resistance of whole this area over here, the February. So for AVAX, cutting back from the lows to February, that's aiming around 60-70% of them. Quite perfect. And that's the next resistance area. So yeah, let's freaking do a bigger range, right? Like, I don't mind. Like, let's do something like that. Could be. I really don't mind. I'm gonna take that. And that's quite awesome, in my opinion. Now, another bigger mover is our render. I've been mentioning render as well for quite a while. Last time I mentioned it as well was on the stream of Viking, I guess. I said if we pop the weekly, we will potentially see some changes on that one. And that's quite nice strength because we did pop the weekly quite heavily. Okay, Prabhu, I will go over that in a second. So yeah, we did set a higher high on daily. Now we're gonna go back at the 4-hour. We did settle because from that swing we had a low. That was the high, rejected from the high, right? And we settled a new low from that one. So that high was quite important. So we see quite nicely uptrend on it. And look at that. We broke out, we settled down. Yes, we are in the resistance on the high time frame. That's all fine. But now the only thing what I want to see is hold of 134 and the lows, of course. That would be really awesome because render it's a quite big mover if it moves. So potentially something like that. Like if you aim for that, it's fine. But I'm more a bit realistic guy. I'm going for the first high. That's almost 30-ish area of percent, right? And the next area is my underside retest of 0.80. Those are the two aims. I don't care about the highs. Those are the first steps that I'm aiming for after this settling in. So yeah, that's really freaking good. Spot back buy, I'm quite considering to buy right now much more because I start to get a little bit more faith into it, right? Yes, it can be short-lived because we all know those are the alts. They can do freaking highs and after higher highs and then freaking dump from it. That's all freaking possible in one go. But still, I'm starting to get a little bit more faith into it. Why? Because overall, like, okay, on random, maybe not that, but we starting to get quite low of on everything, like especially on injective, AVAX, right? Hype as well, per as well. We are starting to get low. Like to do a major dump on it, like for example, if there is gonna be a Black Swan event, like I don't think so, but Black Swan event, then it's gonna wipe more than half of the market. On one side, it could be good, right? Like clean up a little bit. That's fine. I'm fucking not against that. I don't see it happening so far. And for you as well, another interesting point of view on render is that we are still holding the low on the weekly. So potentially right now, and look at that, we did regain this high. This is your freaking super fib for render. Like this is it. Better than that, it doesn't get. Sorry, on the on the weekly, yeah. It doesn't get better than that. So this is it. So yeah, that's another one. Solana didn't. Yeah, it did. Sorry, I missed that one. But yeah, it did settle a high as well on the daily. Perfect one. We did even go a little bit more higher up. Same thing, right? Like I've been mentioning, we are holding. Like guys, this is one-on-one structure, right? We are holding the low on that one. This is you high, right? We've been kind of is regaining it over here. That's still fine. So that means we're holding the low. We break out from it, coming back at either way. Gonna be this or this hip, right? Or then the last one could be somewhere over here, like could something like this. There you have it. The new uptrend of it, right? Easy as it gets. So the first signs, right? Those are always the first signs. Second ones are always the confirmation ones, Where do you get it from? Always from the indicators, right? And structure. Sorry, first structure, then indicators. Because this is your mid, and this is your low that you should hold on it. So in this area, you should look for the long. This is scalping for now. This is just scalping till we're gonna do something like this, break out from it and settle down price above it. Then you can swing on it. But for now, this in this area, always the top, if you are like into the resistance and still seeing some strength, scalping till we break out and settling down on the support. Right? Hope that's clear. But yeah, those are my top picks when I'm trading, leverage wise and spot wise. So that's why I said like I'm seeing some strength into the market, and obviously that's as well counting for the rest of the tokens. Like for example, ADA, right? We did regain the previous high, so technically this is previous high. We're still at the resistance on the major one, but yeah, we settled down, got the blast. We could settle a little bit more lower and then going after that. This shitty one as well, start to see some strength on it, but I'm quite iffy with it. Because like if you remember, like it likes to break and then do a major move to the downside. Like it could change now, like here as well. So I want to see a little bit more confirmation of that one because I'm not trusting any bit with it. And I'm trading this. I have it only on the bot, a different platform. But yeah, that's the one. Oh, BNB didn't do shit. That's fine. So yeah, are there any different alts, guys? Oh fuck, I think I need to mention that as well. Unfortunately, right? Obviously, yeah, there are. Oh, yeah, with did as well quite nice. Holds up. So, yeah, Dewey, yeah, there we have it. Another one, right? Still holding low and regain the previous high. Perfect. Ray, there we have it. See the old stuff. Popcat. King Pepe. Look at that. Perfect. That's already done, right? Like this kind of push, you wait for the going back at the lows, and that's your game, no matter what. Yep. So yeah, that's why I say there is some strength, right? Like I said, like one pump do not delete the whole TA. You just need to have confirmation. Where do you get it? Do you regain or fail from it? That's why, failure-wise, Bitcoin didn't do shit. Right? Yeah, I like the move, but still into the resistance, like no biggie. The shit's gonna happen when we're gonna do this, right? And now we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do another one. So overall, we still downtrending, no matter what. Still, from the next week, we might do that push, right? And then hold on. Fine. So, like promised, I'm gonna go to show you the AVEX one, what I took. So yeah, for me, obviously, like if you have this resistance and you see this kind of area of pump, right, coming in, then yeah, continuation it is. Why? Because we still are continuing higher up without any signs of decreasing, and of course we have the squeeze potential for any kind of yeah, still no squeeze, so still continuation higher. That's one, but I don't look that much often on my oscillators. Overall, what I did is just following and showing the price. So what does that mean? For me, is quite easy on that one. What's the entry on that one? 968. Yeah. Okay, just to be sure, 968. That's my price. So if you see this, and okay, it's not for every single token, but I like if you are gonna be a little bit more into the trading much more, then you're gonna recognize that as well. So this is kind of parabolic move, right? This is the first parabolic move. Yes, I know it's 1 hour. It's not much to say about that. You have the failure, then you start quickly regain that. So that was quite a liquidity grab because eventually this was first aim to do the short from it, and you could ladder into that one as well. That's quite obvious. But either way, I don't think that's... Oh, here, there you have it. Yeah, I didn't even realize that that was the stupid fib. But here, as well, this is it, like the stupid fib. That you can do that. I didn't realize that. I was just aiming for the structure-wise. So yeah, this is the structure. We broke that one. We did regain previously, and then we had this big failure from it, right? That was my confluence into the short that it's gonna play out. But before that, I was taking that short over here. That means, I just went to 5 minutes, right? So 5 minutes over here, and I was just looking at this. This is your area, like this kind of quick buyback, sorry, sell off over here with this structure, and we start to break that. So for me, that was a no-brainer. I think I settled some orders over here. I did something like that. Like if I'm gonna be stopped out, I'm fine on that wake, but it's 0.7, like no biggie, right? That was the whole idea. But you need to be quick on it because it's 5 minutes. So yeah, that's the order that I pull out, and I think I had some orders as well over here, but it didn't move my average that much because it was way too quick, and I didn't realize I didn't put that much. Like it's still really big amount that is there, but not what I usually do, right? But yeah, that's the whole... Yeah, and then it freaking dumped on me. So yeah, that's the whole idea that I went from. If that answers your question. It always builds out from the scalp, right? So then, of course, when I mentioned that as well, like if we start to break, and that's on Bitcoin, come on, load. I mentioned that if we start to break below the daily, that's your confirmation for continuation, right? Because that was quite heavily. That was a really big push. So we settled a high, and then he said, nope, we're gonna go for the low. And with that close, so with that close on 1 hour, what did you do? You broke it. You denied what you did over here, right? Same thing, AVEX, right? Over here, structure-wise, high, technically low because you broke that, but then you set a new high, and you said, nope. And this is your confirmation. And then it goes. Easy as that. It just... The thing is, like, I know you guys are quite annoyed with me to telling you that, but patience. I like... This is it, like follow the price. Like you follow the price, so you're not gonna step in. You know, okay, we freaking regained that shit, so fine. Let's see when we're gonna settle down. So we settle down over here, right? And then we start to move higher up and settle this, and then you see like, oh, we start to maybe lose some pace. You go in the lower time frame and you say like, bang, there it is, right? And then next up, you say you have the daily. That's your daily. You fail from that. You retest that, and then you come from it. You're not gonna come back for that, right? Easy as that. Injective was a little bit more easier, I guess. Yeah, injective was a little bit more easier just because it was, let me see, 3-2, 3-2. There you have it. Failure, right? High, low, come back, done. So yeah, that was mine. Yeah, that was freaking... That was the easiest ones. mm. Pippin. Pippin. Where do I know that name from? Pippin. I'm gonna think about it. Jesus Christ. What the fuck is this? I mean, not gonna lie, but it's a proper freaking stupid flip on the weekly. Like, you can't deny that. Jesus. Did you catch that? Oh, it started. Oh, now I remember. See, it sounded familiar, but yeah, apparently we've been dealing with that one over here somewhere. Jesus. Okay, but what happened to it? Like, why it behaves like fucking XRP? Looking for a short. Yeah, be careful with it because there is not much to short from it yet. This is still freaking up to it. What? Okay, can someone inform me about it? Like, what's going on here? Like, why it came back from the death suddenly and it popped like freaking like that? I still XRP got a rep from my army in here. Yeah, come after me. Try me. But yeah, daily wise, this is yeah. Sorry, bro, but this is still continuing. So if this was your previous high, you freaking regain that freaking strong. If that's gonna be the strength of it, confirming it, you need to hold it on like that, and then you have a continuation. If not, you fail from it, you're getting back at the lows, and then again, right? This, bro, that's fucking scary. Even. But anyhow, so 4 hour. Remember, like I said, like with those, like those kind of, let's say shitties because they are, and they behave like one. This not always matter something. Like you've been breaking this stuff to the downside, and then you just regain it without even notice, right? Same thing it could do over here. So be careful with shorting it because there is no sign on it on 4 hour yet. I mean, yes, we've been breaking the downside, but still, like that's doesn't mean anything. You need to have like proper confirmation on it. So either way, or you're gonna stick with 1 hour or even low time frame, and you start to help it away. That's fine, right? That's the only way how I can say like, okay, find something, right? But so far, either way, you did settle a high, you did break the low, you didn't even come back to reclaim that. So could we do it then again and then one more? Yes, definitely. But then if you have want to really some confluence in like multiples, then you need to lose, for example, right now, you need to really lose the 0.68, but you still set a new high on it. So yeah, this is still continuation no matter what. You need to break this, coming back, do another break, and then but to do a major failure from it. Like you need to have like proper like downside stuff, or in worst case, and that's the ugly one, you will do something like that. Breaking the low, coming high, breaking the low, and then start to do a major stuff like that. So that means you will see something like that. I will not step in front of that. Definitely not. I'm I can do some stupid things, but so far, yeah. See, you didn't even come back over here. This is one big ass fair value gap over here, right? You didn't come back for that even. You had a divergent play and then you end it. One freaking liquidity grab and then you just freaking went off. Like, scary as it is, we do exact the same thing. What we did over here, you do over here. Exact the same thing, right? You did grab the whole liquidity and you just grinding it out and do another one. Exact the same structure, but then extended easily. So yeah, watch, for example, 1 hour for like, you need to have some confirmation on that one. And still, 1 hour is middling. So we could easily push it higher up and this could go off because you did regain that previous low what you failed from with this high. So you technically uptrending and this could blast through it again. Yeah, that doesn't give don't give a shit about anything. Divergent as fuck right now. Yeah. Nope. But anyhow, does anyone knows what's going on over here, like with this whole system or eco? Like, why did it do it? Like, what's going on? Would they come up with some new stuff? What's the reason that it pops? Because it was dead for like freaking year, November, almost a year. But yeah, that's my thing. How deep is my how deep is UXRP going? It's a meme coin. So what can it be? Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, okay, I agree. I mean, how deep? Like so far, if you have this kind of sell off already from the freaking regain of the high, right? So that's a 10%, and you could easily even go another 8, right? But then hopefully you're gonna lose the low and you're gonna do another 16 into the previous low. So those two levels are your aim right now, right? Those are as well you take profits ones. So that's 1.3, 1.2. Yeah, that's a quite sell off. So yeah, that's thing about it. I wish you okay, cool. After the break of yeah, awesome. Yeah, look at that, Prabhu. That's a nice one. And that was the Avex one, yeah. Really nice. Really, really nice. For a short, yeah. But yeah, that's the thing that I wanna talk and show you guys and keep you a bit in check. Yes. Is there anything else? Yeah, so here. This is another one. You can take it from me as well if you want a free spot back. Yeah, that's another sign. Like talking about the divergency, right? On the spot backs. Price goes down, right? You have then the inflow, cash goes down, settles down, spikes up. This is a sign that the inflow of cash are coming in and not out. Right? The price still can be pushed lower. That's like fine. Like no matter what, you DCA into that always. But then this is the first sign. So yeah, that's always nice to see. I always like to have that on Capital Flow Index. Same thing happened on Hype. Oh shit, that's sorry, that's still Hype. Fuck. Oh, this is sucks that we need to change always this after we have like shitloads of them. Is yeah, that was the Capital Flow inflow of Crow. So that's good to see, right? Next push, if we're gonna see the next one above the previous high and closer into the middle, done. That's set. You have something like this, push, done. You see that? Like capital flow stays above or close to neutral line. Price went once higher and then go back into the lows. That's the sign. This is the last buy. Done. Do we do that? Look at that again. Price went lower, low as well, and you start to diverge over here. That was the first low, and after that you settled high, high, higher low, done. There you have it. I cannot make it easier. Like this is the area. First divergence sign over here. You start to DCA into that heavily. Done. That's how you make money. I cannot make it easier. That. If the token can change automatically. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that would be really quality of life thing. Yeah, that it could adapt to the chart, but it's okay. I can do that one step to make money. Don't worry. But yeah, sometimes pain in the ass because then you realize halfway, oh shit, I didn't look at the right one. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, this is how it works, and it does freaking good, in my opinion. And then you have, of course, the hype one that I've been always showing off because that played out freaking awesome. Right, that's nice going on. Then, for example, the AVEX and the injective one, from my perspective of buying the bags, like this is it right here. Same thing. Why I'm buying shitloads of it. This is the low that we broke. We still continuing going lower, right? And the flow, look at that. From here, the big dump, we went lower and we had first spike over here. So first spike over here. Price go low. That's fine. I'm gonna DCA the shit out of it. And then what do we do on the capital flow index? This is the low. So we settle not only a high, but a higher low. And then another one. So price goes low, but the inflow goes high. Now, you can imagine what Adrian's doing right now. Not at this moment, but daily wise, I'm scooping up a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Why? Because then I'm kind of aiming for this and then kind of move. One big spike, holding the price, and then move on. There you have it. Right? Why do you think the alts are quite heavily right now like that? This is as well. This is capital flow. Like the inflow of the money into that particular category, right? Here it is. This. All of that together makes this. Right? Easy as that. Render. I remember the one. How did it look like? Oh yeah. Oh sorry, yeah, I forgot about that, but yeah, it's still freaking good. Like this is high time frame stuff shit. Like monthly wise, like this is crazy because still this is going the same way, right? But then if you look at the weekly one, and that's what it makes perfectly because you had that big ass spike over here, right? And what do we do right now? We're still holding the low, and we are quite freaking high on the capital flow. So if that next move is going to be above the neutral line, boy, you're going to do a one big one. But that's as well, like, right? This doesn't look the same because it isn't. We did a big push, and then we stick higher up. So the inflow is there still. Weekly chart for this. For the spot buying, yes. Yes. For the leverage trading, if you want to add to that capital flow index for leverage, then you could use the 4 hour, right? That's potentially the same thing, right? But it's not gonna be that accurate into where you should start to buy because you could go a little bit more deeper in stuff, right? And then you always need to rethink as well. Remember, there is a divergence into the play as well. But yeah, you could technically do that, right? Viking is using that as well for a good buy. Right? If price drops, risk drops, this is still good buy. But leverage wise, you need to deep dive a little bit more into the structure and make sure if you stop loss and you leverage and whatsoever, what you can use on it. So this still only gonna gives you the area, is this a good buy? Yes or no, right? Or you're gonna go to 1 hour or whatsoever. But then 1 hour could be already bottoming. Yeah, see? So yeah. But then technically, like 1 hour, it's a bit iffy because like if you aim for another 10% move, then price need to drop a little bit lower, and this starts to go a little bit like that. So where do you start to do your leverage trade, right? Like, yes, it's still good to do it, but then if you start to break this, what could be more potential, you go lower, but the inflow goes higher. So it sometimes it doesn't match up with my leverage trade because, like I said, on lower time frame, it's a little bit more divergent than it should be. And it's still good to see like is there any potential for a long or a short or whatsoever, because like if you are like that, then yeah, you aiming to do this, right? But then here, same thing, this is going lower when this is going higher. So when do you gonna pull you short, right? That's why I'm using this more and only technically on my spot, because this gives me a perfect potential idea for a DCA. And I don't mind DCAing, for example, 10% into the down move, because I know I'm DCAing into the lows. I'm not DCAing into the high, because if you're going to buy this, then good luck, right? And this is not only, so this strategy not only gives you the proper area for DCAing and DCAing out of it, but it gives you an idea, is this as well a good momentum to buy it? Because, for example, like if someone comes to you from your friends or from outside or whatsoever, or if you see even something bullshitting on the X, like you need to buy this coin right now because we're gonna do 10x. Okay, I'm gonna add to my chart or to my watch list, and I'm gonna add it to my capital flow index. I'm gonna look at it and see if they are bullshitting me or not. With, for example, something like this. Let's say if someone said like you need to buy Tau right now, is this a good area to buy? Let me check. Like it used to be someone like to DCA into it, but yeah, somehow this is still good area to buy because we are low on the price. This start to pop and divergent like another one, right? So yeah, can this pop? Definitely. Okay, this is good area to buy, right? But it could be like if the capital flow is going to be here, right, and the price down. So no, I'm not going to buy this. Definitely not, right? This is as well something like fact checking and as well looking if something is right or not to buy it. So yeah, like, and that's not only crypto, but for everything. Stocks, communities, I have different setting for those ones, but Forex, same thing. Why is it on the highest time frame? Because that's going to determine if we topped out or we bottom out. Right? Same thing as well. Like, why do I have the total to it? Like, this is kind of a no-brainer. If the total, like of here, starts to decrease, do you think that your asset is going to be the only holy grail that's going to do another 10x? I don't think so, because that's not possible. If the whole market decrease, your coin will decrease as well. So is it a good spot sell or a TP level? Definitely. And look at that. You sell kind of the top, no matter which price you're going to be into it on the low time frame, but you sell the top. Right? Because why? We have, again, divergence. That's why I have the whole total market into it. It's a confirmation, like if the market goes down, right? You do the one hooray shit sometimes, and that's why another thing, divergent, right? And you sell off, sell the tops. Same thing, like the best example is Bitcoin, I guess, that perspective. So alts could be a little bit more deceiving in some moves, but and Bitcoin is the only one that I'm keeping on the monthly one because it does have the most longest history of all of the coins. There wasn't any coin before Bitcoin, right? I mean, I'm not talking about the communities, but crypto-wise, right? Now, what do you do? Where do you buy? You start buying here. Did you buy the lowest or the highest price? One of the lowest, if not the lowest, right? Where do you stop buying? Here. You had 240 days to buy something, to scoop up as low as it possible if it is on Bitcoin over here. If you did that, right? Okay. Where do you sell? obviously, you know that we eventually gonna reach the high, right? So that's another hand side. But my first TP, and that's gonna be 20% of the bag, gonna be here. Gonna be 80% higher from you buy somewhere over here, right? Let's say that's here. That's your first sell of this hip over here. Why? Just because I want to cover my my investment and just to take out something. The rest, you let run. Okay? Where's the next one? Next sell-off, it's going to be higher than that, than this whole hip. Where? From over here, or you're going to aim for the 60. It all depends what you want. You aim for the 60, and then you're aiming for the all-time high. Always the previous all-time high, always TP. I don't want to, I don't care what you're going to say to me, or why not. Always all-time high is the freaking TP. Why? Because then you had the drop-off on it. And why? And this should be one and only reason for all of you guys. Not this one. To remember why you should always take TP on all-time high. I think this should be in the hand side the biggest lesson for everyone to take TPs on all-time highs. No matter what you're gonna say to me, always. Okay, this is the biggest lesson, right? Let's be clear about that. That's why all-time high TP level. All right. What do we do right now is we create a highest point of the capital flow index over here, and no matter where you're gonna take your TP, this should be TP. Then you have the retrace on that one. Capital flow index stay in the level of 50%, right? You had one more dip higher, but you didn't go higher up. So you are starting to diverge after you settling this. So already from your last TP, right? Let's say over here, it's another 60% move. That's another TP. No matter what, you reach a new high or high in capital flow index, but not the new one because you are diverging it, right? Cool. 3 times the charm. It's always, most of the times, it's 3 times in the divergence. Always. So what do? Decrease. We are still in the 50% area. And then you're getting back at the 74. Look at that. What do we do now? We take another TP. 30%. That's the third one. Right? From all of that. From this to this. And we are right now below the middle line. Getting below the middle line after the 3 times charm the divergence. Right? So here, this area, 89 or 90K, or this support, you sell the rest of it. Or you keep 10% whatsoever what you want. Done. And if you come back to me and you say, after this, you didn't make any money from buying this, then I'm sorry what to tell you, but from that low, exactly from that low, 3 times sell off on Bitcoin, you did 600%. Done. Easiest and most simple, effective way of dealing with your spot backs. I don't care that somebody else gonna say something to me about he lost money, because there is no possible way to lose money. Otherwise, that the token not gonna die off on you, right? Like, sorry, but then yeah, that's not in our hand. You should invest in something that's quite stable and much more future proof. But this is it. How I'm gonna do it again? Fuck yeah. I'm gonna do it heavier. Hell yeah, I'm gonna do that. And look at that right now on the monthly. We are kind of around the 60 area on the coin. We almost down into the minus 60. So next step, if you're gonna have one more into the low of 50, right? Somewhere over here. That's the 40, 30K. Technically what I'm aiming for a bear market. Yeah, let's do. And then you have another, let's say 200 something, 114 days to buy. This is the area to DCA into it. And where do you sell? Same thing. Right? That's going to be the first pop. Something like this. Right? Then another one. All-time high again. And then one more. My next aim for the next bull run or something like that, it's gonna be around the 200K ish. This is the top, or will be a little bit more higher up, when maybe 220 for now. Depends how low we're gonna settle the market. This is it. As easy as it gets. I'm sorry, I cannot make it easier. No, I'm not gonna trade for you. Believe me, I had those suggestions back in my DMs, but I'm not gonna trade for you. This is it. Sorry, I went a little bit more off ramp. But yeah, I like to and talk about the stuff because it's freaking easy. There's no point of any losing money or buying, like the worst case. Like this is as well something that you shouldn't be aware that this indicator will never, if you're gonna follow it, you will never buy the top. Right? Why? Because you're not fucking buying this or this. Like you're not gonna buy this. Are you always using weekly chart for this spots? Yeah, I mean for for the Bitcoin, I'm always using monthly. But the rest alts, because they don't have so much long extended history data as Bitcoin, then I'm using weekly. But yeah. So this as well, like yeah, on the weekly, that's why I don't use that one, because like you still could grind into this 60% area or like another way like this, right? So potentially something like that, right? And we are already like quite low. That's why I don't use weekly on Bitcoin. Use monthly. The rest of the tokens, it's, and if the token is new-ish, then yeah, you go by daily, right? That's why you need the history for that. And I agree, like this is not something, if the token is brand new, you're not gonna have the data for it. So I'm sorry. Then yeah, if you should invest into that kind of stuff, then I don't know. Oh my god, bro, 55 messages? Are you kidding me? Oh, I have something to read. Okay. Well, yeah. Any questions about that? It's quiet. I don't like when everyone's quiet. It makes me a little bit weird. Doing. Oh. Um. It's quiet. No. Yeah, I hear that constantly, bro. You've been blasting in my ears. 55 messages. God damn it. Um. Yeah, I like that. By the way, like I don't know if you guys realize that. You need to zoom in for that one quite a lot. Trio been quite stacking lately, so not sure if you guys are happy to hear that, but yeah, it's something, I guess. Been a while we saw quite big candles on it. But yeah, Rololino, well, so yeah, Orca, have a good evening, mate. Don't forget to stop this. Apart, yeah, I almost forgot about that one. Good that you say that. Jesus, that shit is so stupid, but I think I'm the stupidest one because I cannot remember that shit. Mm, mm, mm. Thanks, mate. Hate it. See you, Prabhu. Have a good one. Oh, by the way, guys, I think I can say that, right, Eagle? If it's gonna be all set up, I think we're gonna have BTC bot, guys, running on the, where is it? The one. Yeah, I think we can show that, right? We're gonna have BTC bots. So yeah, just be aware that the job is there for BTC most of the times. But yeah, the runs what we're having from it, it's a good one. It's okay so far, and there are more coming as well. So something interesting for you maybe. But yeah, I think that's gonna be all. So many messages to go through. Oh my god, I don't want to. Mm, mm, mm. Not much to edit to it, but that's it. I guess let's see how the weekly's gonna be opening up so far. Yeah, we still not seeing any strength for that, but alts. I will post it in the alt section as well. The things that I'm looking at, and for it to pop. But yeah, let's see how we're gonna deal with it. But weekly wise, it's looking interesting. Maybe some grinding stuff into the Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday. Oh, sometimes we have the pop, the big pop. Is there any news coming in, by the way? How is it? There's no spending. Yeah, that's gonna be shit for sure. People can't fucking deal with the spendings. Or, how'd you say? Oh, in March. Jesus, March gonna be. Oh, yeah, I guess that's a quarter one. Yeah, I always forgot. Day before my birthdays. Oh, core inflation. Oh, that's gonna be a juicy one. Holy fuck. Damn, yeah. Damn, boy. Okay. Cool. Oh, yeah. Anyhow, oh shit. Let me do that before I'm gonna say goodbye because what's that? Okay. Sorry guys from the NDX platform, but I'm gonna switch off the bot, otherwise I'm gonna forget about it again. So, stop. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next week, Wednesday. All right, that stopped. Cool. Finally, I remembered that. Anyhow, for the guys on the YouTube. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna do some shit thing. Fuck it. So, if you guys interested in some stuff, I have. There are some good cards, by the way, for crypto. I love that, and I've been using my Revolut way more lately. That's freaking nice one. So yeah, that's something to look at it, and as well, of course, the YouTube. I'm gonna post on it. Oh fuck, I did something wrong. But yeah, I think that's all from me, and I will see you there, guys. Keep it tight, keep it safe. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate you all, and I love you all. Bye bye.